Hey, this is Kevin from kevinscuts.com, and today we're going to talk about using Joomla's new Schema.org features. So this was introduced in Joomla 5.0, and today we're just going to talk a little bit about what it is and why you might want to use it. So Schema.org, let's actually just start by going there. Schema.org. If you go to their website, you can see that they are a community or a organization that basically they come up with these different schemas or ways to define different things like books, movies, recipes, any type of information that you're dealing with on the internet. That can be kind of standardized. So a recipe, for example, it has all these different properties that are basically shared between all different types of recipes. And if we provide this information on our websites, then other applications like search engines or accessibility applications can look at that information and categorize it or catalog the information as they need to. So if we go to bing.com here and I just search for chicken parm recipe, we can see we get a picture of these different recipes from all these different websites along with how long they take to cook, the total calories, and the number of servings. And that's just standard across all these recipes, even though they're all coming from different websites. Like this one's from the Food Network, this one's from All Recipes, New York Times, all these different recipes, but Bing is able to easily pick out this information for us and displays it nicely at the very top of the search results. So suppose we want our website that sells or offers recipes to have this type of information available. So search engines like Bing can easily pick it up and prominently display our recipes at the top of search results. Well, we can use Joomla's new schema.org features to add that in. Now let's take a look at the Joomla backend. So I started with an article on baked chicken parmesan. Pretty straightforward. And we can see we have a new schema tab. But first, there's my content. So it's an article we're dealing with. And under the schema tab, if this is the first time you go to it, I think it actually links you to the plugin the first time. So if we actually go into the plugins, and let me just refresh, or actually kind of annoyed that this is in dark mode. Anyway, if we go to System, Plugins, you just type in Schema and type search. The main system plugin for schema.org is, of course, this one down here, schemasystem.org. We click that guy, and there's some information you're going to want to fill out to get started. So the base type, that is what type of website you're using, or the base type for all the schema on your website. Since I am considering myself a business or an organization, I could use Kevin's Guides as my organization name, and if I had a logo uploaded on my test site, I could set my image there and add social media links if you want to as well. But at the very least, pick whether you're an organization or a person and fill out your name field. Save and close that. Make sure the plugin is enabled, and if you look through here too, we can see all the different types of schemas that are available to us with Joomla out of the box. I assume there are more coming. If you go to schema.org under schemas, you'll see that there are all these different options, and there's actually more than what Joomla currently has. So they'll probably add more in the future, I would assume. But back to our article on making chicken parmesan for the example. If we go to the schema tab and we go down and we select the type of recipe, of course, if you have a different type that you want to use, you would select that here. You select your featured image. So I select this picture of chicken parm that I have. I give it a title, my name, or the estimated cook time, date published. It's pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to go through each of these fields, but you would want to go through each of these fields and add them as necessary. So a yummy chicken parm dinner. I'll save that. And if you want a more detailed description of what you should be putting in each field, so you can go to schema.org, and under the page here, we can see all the different options that we have. So for recipes, if I click that, again, we have all these different properties with the type or the values it's looking for. A ton of different fields here, more than I think Joomla even has available to us at the moment. But yep, that is how you add the details for schemas. Now, if we go back to the actual website here, and I look at my recipe, how do I know if that worked, right? The easiest way to check, I think, is just to look at the page source. So the information saved as metadata in JSON format. If I look under the page source here, under the head section at the very top, towards the end, we have these script tags. And we see here, I have all the details about, let's see, let me do line wrap. You can see all the details that I just filled in about my chicken parm are kind of embedded in this JSON data. So now a search engine like Bing or something could look this up and see, okay, well, this recipe takes an hour and 30 minutes to do, so it will just list it there in an easy to read format for the end user. So adding this to your articles where appropriate could potentially help, again, with improving your search results for your articles, and it could help with accessibility, utilities, and things like that that use this information to provide information to users. All right, so that pretty much sums up how to use it. Now, there is just one thing where I would say, like, a few other things that I covered in the article. So why use this? Why not use this? I think I touched on why we would want to use this pretty well already, but there are a couple of reasons why you might not want to use this. Foremost, like if your content's all behind a paywall and it's like all paid content, maybe you actually don't want this type of information just floating around out there, so you don't want to go defining everything. You also want to make sure that you are teaching everyone who publishes on your website, or anyone who's like in an author or a editor or publisher role, they all need to know what to put in these fields and how it all works. So if you have multiple people working on your website, you want to make sure you're all on the same page with what's being added to those fields. And then finally, not every type of article that you write fits nicely into one of these categories. So my website, for example, kevinsguides.com, we have a lot of long form like guides and articles. The closest thing on here would be probably blog post, but that is not what I want to be filling out here. Plus I have 100 different guides, and I don't really see the point in going back and adding the data to every single one when all that information is already on the page itself. Now, just because you put information in here does not necessarily mean that Bing or Google is going to actually use this information either. Google has some pretty advanced algorithms. I mean, I'm sure they all do, but Google can kind of get an idea of what the content is of your page without even needing metadata. They kind of got past, looking at just straight metadata for keywords and things like that many years ago. So at this point, whether or not Google actually uses this for anything is up for debate, I think. I'm sure they use it for some things, but the exact impact on your search results, I'm not really sure. I still think it won't hurt to add this information to your articles if you need to, or if you can, if you're writing recipes or blog posts that fit nicely into those categories, then by all means, go ahead and add that information. Anyways, that's how you use Joomla's new schema.org features. It's a pretty straightforward feature. Just turn it on, Select your type, fill in the fields, and save. Thanks for watching, and take care.